Greetings, friends, all of you, all 17 of you. This is the Truth About Real Estate Investing show for Canadians, and I too am Canadian, coming to you from Oakville, Ontario, just west of Toronto. I hope you're all taking the time to connect and network with fellow like-minded investors. The weather's getting better, things are opening up. I don't know actually what's closed anymore. I do try to do these things as often as possible to spend more time around like-minded people, because you never know if things are going to go bad. So you're going to need people who are like-minded, have friends, so that you, in case anything goes bad, you know who to lean on for support. My mom, my dad, my brother, they're all investors in real estate or stocks or both. I have a whole bunch of buddies, plus my teams, both at Stock Hacker Academy and now in real estate. They're all investors in stocks, options, real estate investing, of course, and cryptocurrency, mainly Bitcoin. Life is short, hence I'm always trying to be efficient with my time and spending that time with people I can learn from or inspire me. Luckily, I married Cherry Chan, so I don't have to go that far to get some really good mental stimulation. We have an informal book club. For example, we're both reading Ray Dalio's Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order. We're almost done. I think we're both almost done. I'm almost done. I'm in the last chapter. Whereas, like most people out there, they have no interest in these subjects, and they'll call us conspiracy theorists. However, those same people could do better off reading a book, maybe around history of the world, and not just go back the last 100 years. Maybe go back the last 300 years, and you'll see that things are rather cyclical, and it might help prepare you for what's to come. Cherry and I, of course, do our part to share what we've learned as the best that we can, what the best practices are to prepare for what all the government banks are doing, like the Bank of Canada, the U.S. Federal Reserve. They all continue to create more money out of thin air, not tied to anything, not backed by gold or anything like that, just to fund the spending that they have. And sadly, assets will grow in value, something that I have a lot of. At least I think I have a lot of. I could always use more. And on the other hand, they're sadly destroying people's savings, and making housing, as an example, more and more unaffordable to those who don't have assets. We covered all of this in our live and in-person events. Yes, that's right. We're back to live and in-person, and it feels good. It feels good to be dialing back my Zoom expenses. We just cut one of my Zoom accounts. We cut it down by 80% in cost, since we're back to doing in-person events. By the time you listen to this episode, we'll have hosted a few dozen people on the weekend on an investment property tour in Hamilton to touch, feel, and smell some investment-grade duplexes at different stages of finish. This is in Hamilton, Ontario, if I didn't mention that. One property has not been renovated. It was just recently closed on. One has just been renovated, and it was just staged. I'm recording this on Thursday, I think. And it was just staged on Wednesday. Pictures were done, and one is an existing duplex. I'd like to say thank you to my team and my clients for making this happen. Only one of these properties is for sale. And we used to do tours of mostly properties that were on sale, but because of the way the pandemic is, not all sellers want us to have a couple dozen investors run through their properties. So thanks to my network and my team and my clients for making this event possible. Also, they're going to have lunch together. So isn't that nice to have lunch with like-minded people? And I don't know if it's just me, but I'm super grateful and almost nostalgic to be able to hang out with groups of friends again and be in busy restaurants. On Saturday, April 23rd, we have our next real estate meetup, Cherry and I's real estate meetup, where we will be sharing, our topics include how to renovate for ROI, that's return on investment. We have a lot of experience doing that. A recent experience on how our team won a multiple offer scenario for a client to purchase their new house at a great price. Plus, we'll announce details of our new joint venture matchmaking program. You don't want to miss out on that. Especially if you're a newer investor, you definitely want to see the details on this. And no, I'm not looking to raise capital. I'm just looking to help people combine resources so that they can get into investment property, because I don't know a better investment for the long term and the way the world is. Again, you don't want to miss out on this. Our March meetup did sell out. Our first live only, or only live. We had no virtual option. We weren't recording it. It's a lot more production for us to have to record anything, so we did not record it. So don't delay. Registrations will be open likely shortly, and for those on our email newsletter. So yeah. So if you're on an email newsletter, just check out when we announce the event, and then make sure you register. This past weekend, I had a night out with my investor buddies in downtown Toronto. A group of 8 guys, including myself, who like to have fun, eat great food, drink nice wine, and do fun things together. We hang out about once per quarter. We're all investors in, again, real estate, development, just name it. Stocks, of course. Six out of 8 of us made it to this event. We don't always make it because, life gets in the way, especially those with the young kids. But 6 of us did make it out, and we had a lot of fun. We started the night grabbing some drinks and then escaping an escape room with 5 minutes to spare. The escape room allotted 45 minutes. We got out in 40. We did take one hint, though. That might have been my bad. This is my first. If anyone doesn't know, I've done a lot of escape rooms, but this is the first one I've done since the pandemic started, and we did awesome as a group. Time goes by fast in escape rooms. If you've ever done these before, if you haven't, I recommend it. Do it with some friends, do it with some family, do it with your older kids. Time goes by fast when you're in an escape room, since it's a timed event. If you run out of time, you fail to escape. So no one wants that. So time goes by fast, and time goes by faster when you're allowed to bring adult drinks inside the escape room. And they even give us walkie-talkies to order more drinks while we're within. Also to, ask for help and ask for tips. But yes, we can also order drinks, which we may have done. Next, we had a fine dinner at Coast. It's a nice restaurant downtown Toronto on the 40th floor. So it features panoramic views of the city. When it's warmer, there's a pool deck as well. The food and wine was excellent. I included some pictures on my Instagram that's included in this post. From there on, after that, the details are hazy, so I'm not going to try to recount any. But much fun was had. Oh yeah, of course, being who we are, we chatted a lot about investing in real estate, cryptocurrency, how much cash we should hold, gold, everything. From this night out with the guys, because of this night out with the guys, we don't always get together, so it's not easy for us to coordinate and make plans. But from this event, we did make plans. We're going to visit a city in the U.S. to scope out. We're going to look at some small development opportunities on the other side of the border. So that'd be pretty cool. For me, I think most folks know I'm heavily invested in Ontario, specifically Hamilton and St. Catharines and Toronto. I have a property in Toronto. And for Cherry and I, there's nothing wrong with a little diversification south of the border. And the group of people I'm going to be investing with, they're pretty talented people and morally and ethically solid people. So I'm excited for this. On to this week's show. I'm super excited to have back on the show my friend Jules Mckenzie, who I find super inspiring. And unfortunately, I'm going to warn some of you right now. He is a super successful real estate investor, having owned a lot of properties, way more than I did. He's had over 20, 30, I forget how many properties, over 50 properties, I think. He's trimmed that down significantly as he sold some off and paid off debts. But he's got a good number of keepers. He's raised millions and millions of dollars of capital to buy real estate in Barrie and Aurelia. But here's the boring part. He is a police officer with over 30 years of experience. So I think that categorizes him as a legal expert. And some of you are not going to like his opinion about the protests that happened in Ottawa. So I'm just going to warn you that now. But if you want a professional legal opinion, his opinion on what happened there, maybe you want to listen to that part. I personally am open-minded. I don't care if I don't get offended easily. Personally, I don't get offended easily, but I know some of you out there will. Jules does share how he too protested at Parliament Hill at a different time, but he protested at Parliament Hill, and his experience was very different than what happened earlier this year with the truckers and the COVID mandate protesters and whatnot, the occupation, what was deemed an illegal occupation. Anyways, we talk a lot about real estate on the show and on tips and we've talked in general, we talk on the show a lot about tips and tactics, including previous interviews I've had with Jules. Jules is back for the third or fourth time. I've lost count. So feel free to go back and listen to those if you're looking for tools and tips and tactics. Today we're going to more focus on the obstacles that Jules had to overcome, being an indigenous Canadian and growing up on a reserve, substance abuse. If you've ever met Jules, you'll know he's one of the happiest people you'll ever meet, and you'll have no idea about his tragic past. But what I find inspiring about Jules is he refuses to live the life of a victim, and he's living proof of how important mindset is. As Jules has come from tougher upbringing than most and has achieved immense financial success. If you do enjoy the show, which I think you will, please look up Jules Mckenzie on Facebook or Instagram and send him a message letting him know that you want to read his book. Jules is on the fence about writing a book. I don't think he needs the encouragement, but just in case, as I believe his book will help out a lot of people, not just young Indigenous Canadians, but I think he'll help a lot of people who have obstacles that they think they can't overcome. Some of them are terrible, near impossible, but it really does still always start with believing in oneself. So I think his book will help more than just our 17 listeners. And if you agree, if you could be so kind to drop him a message. All right, please enjoy the show. Hi, Jules.
Hi, Oren.
What's keeping you busy these days?
Holy jeez, I wouldn't know where to begin. So I just finished a course at the Ontario Police College. I've been promoted to detective. I didn't even show you my badge.
Oh, cool.
It was so cool because I'm not the first one to be in that position, but I don't know. I just think it's a really nice badge. That's a Rama Police Detective badge. Can you believe it?
It's beautiful. Wow. Well, it's so detailed. Oh, it's really pretty.
See that? Anybody can be the detective, Erwin.
I'm not going to talk to that. Because you just had such an easy life. Born into a life of privilege.
Yeah. I was definitely privileged. My daddy gave me everything.
Yeah, we'll get into that because we're not letting you off on that. But you are tanned, so things haven't gone that bad.
Things have gone pretty good. Oh, man, it was so good to get away. We were down in the Bahamas in Nassau for a week.
Just a week?
Yeah, just a week.
Was it hard coming back?
I still got stuff to do. Like, I still got a life to live.
Which is interesting, because you do quite well.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to work.
Well, it's funny.
Financially, like, you do not. I don't think you have to work.
I thought about cashing out a couple times, but my chief, promoted me into
police chief.
My police chief promoted me into this position. They leased a car. I got an expense account and a credit card. I got a clothing allowance, and it's like, you keep doing this to me. You're making it hard for me to retire.
Golden handcuffs.
Yeah.
That sounds so funny.
I never thought it would happen to me. Oh, if my mommy could only see me now.
And you have an unmarked car,
yeah,
which is so cool. Because I asked so you pointed it out to us. Because oh yeah, I've seen unmarked cars. I know when it's a cop. Because I know I see them. I see them on a rearview mirror. I see when I pass one in an unmarked car. Yeah. Like, but that yours doesn't look.
There's
like one
no
of
way.
those.
No,
yeah.
That was based on CISO research that it'll blend in. So it's a car that I would not purchase, and it's a car I'm not particularly proud of. I'm allowed to take it home, but I don't. I have a big, beefy Dodge Ram pickup truck.
Yeah. Well, you're huge.
Yeah.
What are you, 6'3" or 6'4"? What are you?
Probably 6'3". I think I lost an inch, maybe a half an inch off my height as I get older.
Yeah. It's probably the heavy weight you're lifting. It forces it's extra
it's
gravity.
Pushing me down, compressing my spine.
Yeah, and all and everything else, and you probably don't even have much knee cartilage left or whatever.
Well, the one knee there is no cartilage left. The other one I just got the back half of the meniscus left. So I gotta watch that every once in a while.
Yeah, because I remember I remember I'd hurt myself enough times doing whatever, mostly basketball. I'd rolled my ankles enough, and then like enough of that for myself. That's when I started my CrossFit journey, thanks to some friends, including like Nick Karadza. Because it's so linear, like it's like no one's touching you first off, and again everything's in one direction basically, right? Either forward or backwards or sideways, whatever. Pretty controlled.
Yeah.
Compared to playing a sport. And I remember you telling me that you were running. And I knew you had bad knees, and it pained me. And I'm not gonna say anything, right? Because you don't tell anyone what to do, right? Because you enjoyed it, you loved it. But would you do anything different?
Well, funny you mention that because I remember we were talking off camera about the podcast you did with the individual from
Dr. Cowan.
Yeah. What's his name? Callum
Cowan.
Callum Cowan?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, from Phenom High Performance Clinic.
Yeah.
And at the time you were pretty heavy into the CrossFit stuff. And I was just starting in CrossFit, but I was frustrated. I didn't feel that I was achieving the results that I should be achieving.
You were doing fantastic. I saw your videos. You were doing pull-ups like a madman.
But I was still seemingly overweight. I was 268 pounds at the time, and felt heavy, felt sluggish, lethargic, and it came down to the diet. And I remember having this conversation with my coach, my CrossFit coach, and I said, "What do I got to do to change?" And he just kind of sat down in front of me, kneecap to kneecap, says, "Jules, if you really want the results, you're gonna have to change everything." And I said, "What do you mean change everything?" You have to change the way you train. You're going to have to change the way you eat. You're going to have to change the way you sleep, because this is not serving you. It's not going well. And I left that meeting equally frustrated. And then I was listening to your podcast about Phenom, the ketogenic diet, and making all those kind of changes. So I got in for an appointment with one of the doctors there. A naturopathic doctor. We did some food sensitivity testing, and I found out I was sensitive to a lot of things. And
can you remember what were some of the highlights? What are you sensitive to?
So potatoes, big one.
Okay.
The pastas, anything refined. I was like essentially all the things we're not supposed to have on keto. I was sensitive to.
Okay.
For a brief period at the beginning, I was sensitive towards eggs as well, which was torture because it was just a steady diet of meat and vegetables. But I lost so much weight so fast. I lost a lot of strength with that as well, and that was kind of frustrating. But it's still slowly starting to come back now. I did a 1 rep max 255 back squat, which was a lot for me. When I first lost the weight, it was relatively fast. So I'd say in about 3 months, I was down 40 plus pounds, and I could barely back squat 75 pounds. Like it was to the point where it was just embarrassing.
Wait. So pre-ketogenic diet, how much you could back squat?
Pre-ketogenic diet, I was back squatting. I think my 1 rep max was 275.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then when I lost my weight, I could barely lift off 75 pounds. Oh. But in addition to that, you're aware that I had my knee surgeries. I have terrible knee. Well, it's not so terrible now because I got my diet under control. I don't have as much inflammation as I did previously. And I lost a lot of strength. And I was wearing these carbon fiber braces to keep my knee stability in place. And I was having difficulty with my knees because the knee pain was not subsiding. But I went to Aurelia Sports Medicine and got hooked up with a doctor there, Jason Poor. And it was kind of like threefold. So I got involved with them as well, in addition to being involved with Phenom for my diet. But he gave me diet counseling because it was hard to get on the ketogenic diet because I was grazing all day long, if not into the evening, if not both. And then
On things you should be eating or things you shouldn't?
things I shouldn't.
Oh,
Of course, come on. Police food. I was eating a lot of police food. Donuts, cakes,
the stereotype
cookies.
is true.
Oh man, I had a reputation to uphold. So, working with Jason, he got me on some diet counseling. So all it really was I read a book by Dr. Jason Fung, who's
Oh, him.
yeah.
Oh,
So
the
it was-
fasting guy.
Yeah, so the obesity code.
Yeah.
And then he says, we're going to adopt fasting into your life. And at the time he says...
Sorry, that's the name of the book, Obesity Code?
The Obesity Code by
Dr. Jason Fung?
Jason Fung. Excellent guy. He's got some really
Wait,
good...
you got to meet him? You worked with him directly?
No, I didn't work with
Oh,
him.
okay,
though.
okay.
Not at all. No, I don't think I ever met him. I might have met him at a rain meeting. I have a memory of that.
You're kidding me.
I'm not kidding you.
He's famous now because of George St. Pierre.
Absolutely is. Yeah. But I believe I met him at a rain meeting. If Dr. Fung, if you're out there, please
What a
don't hesitate to give me a call sometime.
What a small world.
I want to extend my gratitude. But I learned about intermittent fasting, started to implement it in my life. And it was hard like anything.
Yeah.
You know, you have the keto flu, you feel hungry all the fucking time. You're pissed off and edgy.
Yeah.
But then eventually things start turning around for you, right? Like you get over that hump. And I remember my first fasted workout where I could actually feel like I was just so energized and so charged. And it wasn't so much the weightlifting, but my gymnastic type stuff, my calisthenics just took off. Like I was able to burpee like a madman. I was able to continue to do pull-ups. Those kind of things really took off. And I just felt so charged up and energized that nowadays, if I work out after I've eaten something, then I feel like what I used to feel prior to all this stuff: sluggish, slow, kind of sleepy. But if I go work out fasted, even if it's a 36-hour fast, like I just, you start out, and the way my coach is doing it now, so I got a different coach. She's coaching me to do some heavy lifting for a brief period of time, maybe 5-10 minutes of some lifting, 5x5 of back squats or front squats or combination of clean and jerks or power snatch, whatever the case may be. Then we take 5 minutes and then we go into the workout of the day, which could be anything. But now I do that. If I do that fasted, it's just phenomenal. If I do that after a prolonged fast, and for me, a prolonged fast is 36, 40 hours.
Which is a lot. Yeah.
I just, I know that I'm positively influencing my body's natural testosterone level, and the strength just takes off.
That's fantastic.
It is terrific. Oh, it's just so awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then just to backtrack, Dr. Jason Fung isn't he a kidney doctor?
He actually, as far as I understand, he treats a lot of patients that suffer with diabetes.
Yeah. And so he actually tried, instead of trying to fix people's kidneys, he went to the source problem.
Yeah.
Which was their overweight.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And you don't need to take, well, I guess you could take drugs for that, but that's not the best solution.
There's more gentle I'd say there's a more gentle solution to be intermittent fast than take medication.
One of the best things about this lifestyle is fasting is free.
Yeah. Oh, you save money.
You save a ton of...
you save and you save time.
You save time too.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So if you skip a lunch,
yeah,
that's an hour extra of your day that you could just be productive.
Yeah. Well, for me, what I love is because my kids are young, so the mornings are a rush to get them out the door, but I don't have to worry about my own eating, so I have all this extra time to help my kids with homework or brush my daughter's hair. Like no one, it's just nice, especially at that time when it's usually hectic for most households.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Obesity code. Yeah, I'm not obese.
No, you're definitely not.
I know
obese.
my to read book, my to read list is high. I'd love to get to it, but yeah, I'm already implementing a lot of this stuff. I can't fast as long as you do. I'm more of a morning fast kind of guy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'll do that 36, 40-hour fast at least once a month.
yeah.
And then a couple times a week, I'll do a 24-hour fast.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm basically, my eating window is condensed down to 6 hours, sometimes 8, depending if what I got going on at work. But yeah, that's kind of how I do it now. Basically, 2 meals a day, sometimes 1, sometimes none.
Mm-hmm.
And mentally, I just stopped making a big deal out of it. It's like, yeah, so what?
Do you know how many calories you're eating in a day then?
No.
When you're
I'm
even
not-
just roughly ballpark?
No, I don't count macros. I just know enough that it's not so much the time I spend eating as much as the time I don't spend eating. The biggest thing that scared me is because of my indigenous background, I know that a lot of my relatives have diabetes and suffer from obesity.
Mm.
So I knew that every time you eat something, whether it's good for you or not, you spike something in your body called insulin. You get enough insulin spikes, that hormone is going to take the food you just ingested and turn it directly into body fat. So you got to be aware of that.
Right. So the meal, when you do fast, when you do have a meal, are they bigger than what you used to eat before?
Yeah, in some cases, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If I'm planning,
I'm just trying to paint a picture for the listener that you're not starving yourself.
absolutely not. No, some people look at me as like, holy shit, like you're eating 2 breakfasts. you know?
Yeah. So you're kind of like you're almost making up the calories in a single meal or 2 versus spreading it through the day.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So and that's predominantly to prevent insulin spikes, which is a hormone that'll make you gain weight.
So Jules, I think you were on the show within 2 years. We've talked a lot. I think this is the 3rd or 4th time you're on the show. We've talked a lot about real estate. Can you share what your current holdings are?
Yeah, I can. We're holding 11 properties. One is Angie's beautiful bed and breakfast type property, the Kavanagh House, CavanaghHouse.com. It truly is a bed and breakfast.
As in you serve breakfast?
Yes.
Because we're just saying Airbnb, like remember what the last B meet stands for?
Yeah.
But no one serves breakfast at an Airbnb.
No, you attend this anonymous place, get your keys anonymously through a key code.
Sometimes you can't tell anyone that that's why you're there.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's the kind of experience you want. I'll have at her, but I know I like having breakfast. Getting breakfast served to me if I'm staying somewhere nice. And this place is beautiful. So Angie got this vision when we were down in, we went to Las Vegas. I can't recall which anniversary it was. We were down there for 4 days and we were on our way, getting ready to check out and head home. And it's like, I need some more time. So we rented a car and we drove down to Phoenix, Arizona. And we stayed. She found us this online bed and breakfast. She said, instead of staying in a hotel, why don't we try this bed and breakfast? And the host was terrific. It was a beautiful house in the suburbs of Phoenix, Arizona. And she was also a great tour guide. So we went to the Haunted Hamburger in Jerome, Arizona, which is essentially formerly a copper mining town on the side of a mountain.
Wait, that's the name of the place?
Yeah, Jerome.
Okay, it's not a restaurant then.
No, the restaurant's called the Haunted Hamburger. It's in Jerome, Arizona. If you get a chance, you got to go. It was terrific, and it was such a fun little town to be walking around in. But that's where she got the idea for the bed and breakfast, and we executed that during the pandemic. That was fun.
Good timing.
Oh man, we had everything lined up, and then. Once it came time to execute, we closed our purchase at the end of July 2020. The contractor says, "Yeah, we're gonna have to delay this a couple of months because we can't get materials."
Like lumber, drywall.
Lumber, drywall. Yeah, you name it. We couldn't get it.
Yeah.
But we managed to get through that. And
you wouldn't have had guests though, anyways, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, we didn't. I think we had our first guest early last year.
Oh.
And it was a doctor that was working overtime at Soldiers Memorial Hospital because we're about 300 yards from the hospital. And I remember the doctor showed up and he said, "Well, where's the hospital?" And I pointed down the road and I said, "It's 300 yards right down there." He says, "Oh, so I can leave my car here?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So,
was he just trying to stay away from his family while he worked, or was he visiting from out of town?
No, he was from down in Toronto. So he's a doctor at one of the hospitals in downtown Toronto, and he was a fill-in for somebody who had to take some leave, some time off. And that particular doctor, which I'm sure he would prefer to remain anonymous, he has stayed with us a couple of times now, along with another medical professional who's come to stay with us as a result of this doctor's experience with us. So it's pretty good. It's like the ultimate house hack.
Yeah, because you sold your home to move into this property.
Yes.
And you mentioned, before we were recording, you mentioned Victorian. How many square feet? What year was it built?
So it's about, I think it's about 2,500, 2,600 square feet.
Right. And how much is your space?
Our space is small, but we don't, it's just the two of us.
Right. You're empty nesters.
We're empty nesters.
Yeah.
So we built an addition on the house with a garage so I can have all my fitness equipment there. And we just live in the back. And we actually made it. Angie's really got a good vision and an eye for this stuff. She's really turned that place into, just a comfortable place to hang out. We have our own side porch. In the summertime, we could sit out and have coffee and enjoy the outside. If it's too cold in the wintertime, we have a gas fireplace in our living room. We just turn it up. It's actually really good. There is an aspect of my personality that's introverted. Angie's, not a total introvert, but she likes more peace and quiet and nobody around than she does having people around.
Which is funny because you're very close to your guests.
Yeah.
In this property.
Yeah.
Versus your home had no guests.
That's right. Yeah. So, being cooped up and locked up during the pandemic, in a beautiful Victorian home, it's kind of nice actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I almost felt bad that when it was time to start churning out guests and accepting guests, it's like, I don't really want to share this place. It's too nice.
Because you're likely to be slammed this summer.
I would assume that we will be. Yeah.
Probably. No bookings next week for March break?
I think we do have some bookings. I haven't really checked in with Ange. That's more her side of the business.
Got it.
Operating that.
Very cool. Very cool. And then what about, have you sold anything off? Because I think you used to have more properties. Didn't you have 17 last time you were here? Because you must have turned some over.
Yeah. So it was 20 or 19 properties when I last was on your show. So we sold off most of our single family residential properties. So all the townhouses are gone. They basically tripled in value from the time when we purchased them.
Good profit.
To the time that we refinanced them and paid out our initial investors, to the time that we sold them and paid ourselves out. It was pretty good. That afforded us a really nice Victorian home, and all the renovations that went into it, because it was substantially more expensive during pandemic to get those renovations done than if it wasn't. But that's okay. When you have a vision, you have a clear vision for yourself and your spouse. What's happening externally, like a pandemic, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. That's one thing I learned. If you have a strong enough belief in your vision for the both of you, there really is no hurdles or obstacles or brick walls in the way. You just bust through that stuff.
Yeah. Take no prisoners.
Yeah.
You have no experience with about being resilient, do you? We'll get to that because not letting you off the hook. Now, I asked you if we could talk about this before, about the law.
Yes.
Because there are some in our community who have different opinions on the law. not everyone can have an opinion. I'm not taking. No, let me turn that around. I'll take my lawyer's opinion, or I'll ask a police officer's opinion on what the law is, on what a peaceful protest is, for example. Right now, I'll just let you. What would you like to? Because you've had experience with protests.
Yeah, I have.
Right, I've watched TV. I've watched lots of. I've watched too much TV.
So let me. How do I go about explaining this? I have to keep in mind that I am a law enforcement officer, still active as a law enforcement officer.
So that might qualify you as a legal expert.
It might.
It
might.
Right. Versus someone on Instagram or
But
Twitter.
I will just say it like this. I'm an indigenous person, and I watched my dad fighting for Native rights pretty much my whole life, before he passed. He was the vice president of Indians of Quebec Association. He was locked up during the brief period of the first Quebec referendum because the Quebec government didn't want him influencing anybody's decision on the yes vote to separate. That was terrifying, watching my dad being arrested by a couple of QPP officers. And he was released without charge later on. But
they held him without charging him?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's normal, right? In today's world?
Absolutely normal. Yeah. You better be careful, Roman, when you walk out of here. You might be arrested without charge in hell for, a 48-hour period. I'm being facetious, listeners. This was the environment that I grew up in. Followed in my father's footsteps a little bit. We were protesting some amendments to Bill C-31 during the mid-'80s when I was going to Cambridge College in Sudbury. And there was about 80 of us from, I think it was from North Bay, Sault Ste. Marie, and I believe even Trent University. There was a large Native student population down there. We went to Ottawa to make this protest at Parliament buildings.
In Ottawa?
In Ottawa.
On Wellington Street?
On Wellington Street.
Yeah.
And we walked on the grass, and we walked up towards the doors, and we were greeted by a whole raft of RCMP officers with their shields and their batons, and they beat the shit out of us and pushed us off the lawn.
Wait, they came dressed and ready for you?
Oh, yeah. We barely got set up. And we were physically pushed off. I remember, I skipped that stair, but I'm hitting this stair. I'm falling flat on my face. Here I go. And we were more or less, forcibly evicted off of the grounds of the Parliament buildings.
How long were you on the grounds for?
I would say probably.
Sorry. How long did you set foot on the grounds until you were met with police force?
This was planning of about a month in advance. I wasn't one of the planners, but I got caught up in this thing, and I knew they were planning it for about a month. We went down on a bus. We raised enough money to rent a bus. We went down there. We probably lasted from the time we arrived till the time we were forced off, probably about 90 minutes.
90 minutes?
Yeah. It was pretty quick. It was pretty brutal.
Oh my God. So did it have to go before Parliament that this was not legal? So in those 90 minutes time, there was it went through all several levels of government to say that you guys shouldn't be there.
It must have.
Right. Because it was, yeah.
Because we were such a threatening group of, these skinny little indigenous students that, had placards and phrases drafted on signs and whatnot, and I don't even think I got my sign up in the air.
Oh God, so I've watched a lot of TV, and I think from this the trend I noticed is that the treatment of protesters has gotten softer through the years. I literally worked at Queen Spadina, and I was still going to the office. I'm not the brightest person, you know that. During G20.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
That's rough stuff, man.
But dude, that was
they didn't take it easy on them.
No, they didn't.
They didn't. There were some of them that just got clobbered.
Right. So that's my context. And then I see what happened in Ottawa. Right?
I was brutal. I mean, I don't want to speak badly about certain police leaders, but to say something along the lines of they're too well organized, Their trucks are too big and heavy. There's too many of them. Like, give me a break. Like, there's an obvious double standard that still exists, you know, in society, maybe just the government, I don't know. But I know that this still is the most beautiful, richest, freest country in the world. When an indigenous person from my background, you know, can amass millions of dollars in real estate and have a beautiful lifestyle, you know, I'm still a big believer in it. It just kind of irks me that, you know, I know what happened when I went to protest in Ottawa. It wasn't pleasant at all. And then, you know, the poor people in downtown Ottawa had to endure, I think it was 21 days of this, you know, honking and the streets blocked and
the diesel burning.
People in, you know, bouncy castles and hot tubs and just, you know, just this total disregard for public order and the law and other people's right to enjoy their property and their businesses and their freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. I was kind of disappointed with the way that whole thing went down. I mean, all the prime minister had to do was give them, you know, 15, 20 minutes of his time, let them vent. Mm-hmm. They probably would have moved on. I don't know. Maybe.
I'm empathetic to both sides too, because I can, you know, we both know people that were affected really badly by the pandemic and mandates and stuff like that. And also, but like I was saying before we were recording, as a landlord, it's you know, part of our mandate as landlords is to provide our tenants with quiet, peaceful enjoyment of their property.
Yeah.
Right. That wasn't quiet and peaceful.
It definitely wasn't.
Enjoyment of people's property who live downtown Ottawa. Right. So like, yeah, people weren't punching each other in the face, but that's still not peaceful. It needs to be more comprehensive.
Yeah.
Right. Honking. Yeah. Parked cars. Yeah.
Impeding other people's right to be mobile, you know, within their surroundings. Mm-hmm. Like, there was people that couldn't get their cars around downtown Ottawa.
Yeah.
Because there's these giant trucks blocking it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think the lesson is, and then some of these leaders actually thought that, I don't know if they're serious or not, but they actually thought that because they were being peaceful, they weren't breaking the law. But it sounds
no, they knew they were breaking the law. We knew they were breaking the law.
But, well, they were telling their followers, this is okay. Hold the line, right? What we're doing, so you only say hold. If you know what you're doing is illegal and you tell people to hold the line, then you're telling people to do illegal things.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So, okay. Yeah. So maybe get some good legal advice.
I remember back in the day when I was on that line, on a line similar, there was nobody yelling, hold the line. They were saying, hold your head. This is going to hurt.
Oh, gee. Mercy. All right, let's move on from that. It's so sad. It's so sad.
And it's one things is, you know, the opinions. So I don't know how to articulate this correctly. So, and I realize that we're on a public show, but it seems to me that with social media, the media in general, there were some people that were thinking, you know, this is not right. This is against my rights and freedoms. And there was just a select few that were thinking that. But once one or two were able to get that out vocally in the public, then other people quickly jumped on board. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, and it created this very divisive, you know, almost like Fox News versus CNN kind of polarization of opinions. Mm-hmm. And, you know, some people really jumped on that. Like my previous CrossFit coach, you know, I feel so, my heart goes out to him because he didn't want to get vaccinated. He was a successful firefighter, worked hard to get to that position. But, you know, his premise for this was that he was a 2-tour Afghan war veteran and he earned his right, you know, to express his freedom. And yeah, he probably has, but, you know, at what cost? He's got 2 little kids. He's got a beautiful home and a beautiful wife. Lost his job and now lost his business. You know, was it really worth it? I don't know.
I know. So I want to change things a little bit. So one of my early mentors, he told me about a friend of his who was really rich. Right, this is how rich he was. He bought his kid needed a car, so he bought him a 7 Series BMW. So, so my mentors asked his friend, they have 3 Series, right? And then the dad said, well, I might want to drive it once in a while. I can't be seen driving a 3 Series, right? He was that rich, right? And then there's another story where he asked him, like, hey, you're of dark skin complexion. Other people with that complexion wear the headdress. Where's yours? And he said to my mentor, this is Canada. If I want to be successful in business, I need to look more like people who do business here, right? He was willing to make that sacrifice. I'm not saying right or wrong. I believe in freedoms as well.
Yeah.
I believe everyone should have a freedom to choose. He was willing to make that sacrifice for his freedom and to become that's financially successful. And that's always stuck with me in that, what are you willing to do to be successful? I'm willing to do a lot for my family, right? And so, yeah, to each their own.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy. And yeah, and like, damn. Could you imagine if, no, it's a terrible question. I'll ask it anyways.
No, ask it anyways. Let's do it.
Could you imagine if, no, that's too bad. It's too
No,
terrible.
come on.
No, it's too terrible. It's too terrible. I'm not going to ask it.
I will say this. Growing up that I had and watching my father fighting for indigenous rights back in the day, I heard him say phrases like, well, that Canada-US border doesn't exist for us. And I can remember a couple occasions we're going down to Syracuse, New York, and my mother telling my dad, be polite with the border services guard so we can cross and have a peaceful afternoon.
Yeah, or they might kick your ass.
No,
no,
not my dad.
No.
He had to express his opinions.
Oh, gee.
And guess what? It was a quiet ride home after the fact.
Oh, gee.
But, I recognize the fact that, yes, indigenous people, essentially we're here first. We have a right to be self-determining, self-sustaining, and a right to our own independence. But essentially, isn't that what I'm doing now? I've amassed a portfolio of real estate. I've taken your stock hacker course, so I'm learning how to do that. I'm essentially self-determining my future.
Yeah.
And I'm making our family financially independent and self-sustaining, and I didn't have to impose my at the time, my personal views and political views on others to the point where I want you to have the same opinion as me. No. I was trained through the trainings that you and I have had, to create situations where people can win-win situations and make deals. And not just make deals where one person wins or one person loses, just making win-win deals. So that's the big difference between me and my dad. I don't even know where that came from, Erwin. Holy shit, you just drew that out of me. I guess I'm not a radical indigenous rights person. I do respect that, and there are still some beliefs and values I have around that, but they mostly are around an indigenous person's right to hunt and fish. I still very much believe in that.
Are any of those rights being taken away?
They had been threatened in the past, and as far as I know, they're not being threatened right now. But I still believe that indigenous people should, engage in those activities to maintain that tradition.
Why shouldn't they?
Yeah,
you all need to eat.
Yeah, and
so many laws in this country are designed to protect your ability to earn an income, and so which is like the part of eating.
One of the things that happened that caused my dad to act the way he did in the late 70s, early 80s was that in Quebec, the forestry officers were attending the homes of indigenous people and pulling out moose meat and fish and other things because they were hunting and fishing without licenses. when previously we did not require licenses in order to do this, nor were we subject to, losing all our sustenance for a year, because essentially we would go out in the fall, get enough meat to last the whole year until the subsequent fall. I mean, they do these things for conservation reasons. Indigenous people have always been, had conservatory values towards the land and the animals and the resources in it. Anyhow, there I digress a little bit.
There's some interesting people in power.
But I still love the culture. I'm still part of a small traditional drumming group. We do a ceremonial drum. We attend certain Indigenous events, and we certainly like to sing songs and honor those war veterans that have gone on before us.
What was it like growing up?
What was it like growing up?
What was the name? Is there a category for the name of the type of school you went to?
Just a Temiskaming public school.
Okay, so what I was trying to get to is like residential schools has been making massive headlines, as they deservedly so.
Yeah.
Did the school that you belong to, would that be categorized as a residential school?
No, sir. I wasn't subject to that. My parents were, and unfortunately, my parents were from the generation where you didn't talk about those kind of things. Just as a listener may have a grandfather who was in World War II who didn't share any of his war stories or experiences while he was overseas.
So your parents never told you about it?
No, my father never talked about those kind of things.
Dark days, eh?
Yeah. So I've heard stories from other relatives where, our auntie and our uncle are buried in a mass grave in behind the traditional church, or the church by the trading post. I've heard those stories.
Jesus.
But I've had relatives that have gone to residential school, and right or wrong, that's our history. That's what's happened.
So we've detailed. I don't want to bring it all back up because I know it's not the easiest. Because you've been through some shit.
Yeah, I have been. But I've also personally grown and developed myself to the point where, for lack of a better term, I don't hold resentment. I don't hold a grudge. Mm-hmm. Because that's just...
Sorry, let me just pause you there. So you've gone through an education system that was very not for you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. I recall someone pulled a gun on you in your home.
Yeah.
Right. And threatening you in front of your father. I recall you've had some substance abuse issues.
Yeah.
Which is not surprising, considering what you've gone through.
Mm-hmm.
Policing's not easy today. I can't imagine how easy it was for you in your community when you started. Right? So none of this was easy.
No. So, and none of it was. I think that reaching out for help and being courageous enough to reach out for help was my saving grace. Mm-hmm. I seen other of my peers that had a seemingly calm, reasonably successful lifestyle. They were healthy, they were happy. And I just reached out and I said, well, how did you do that? What are you doing that's so different from what I'm doing? And one of the things was, well, I don't drink.
So wait, you're an admitted introvert and you still reached out and asked the question?
Yeah, I did.
But to ask the question, you have to admit, I have a problem.
Yeah. That was hard.
You did that, eh?
I did that. Yeah, absolutely. I did that. It was shortly after I got on my career with the OPP. I joined the OPP when I was 21. And I was far too young to be a police officer.
And then to see what you would see?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, because it was essentially my life on repeat. Because I was put into a predominantly Indigenous community in northwestern Ontario to be part of the police department where nobody in the community trusted the police, and then my peers in the police department didn't trust me because I looked a lot like them. like the people that were serving. So my whole past just blew up in my face again. Of course, I turned into a raging, pissed off alcoholic.
Right, because who were the people you're arresting?
Yeah.
Right? Who filled the prisons and the jails?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I had to fit in with my peers, and do what they were doing. I didn't feel too good about that. But there was these 3 guys from the Gull Bay Police, First Nations Indigenous policing, and they had this twinkle in their eye, and they had this message about, living a clean, sober lifestyle. And I just remember asking them, well, how did you do that? How does that work? And, in their own way, all 3 of them took the time to express this to me and gave me that message of strength and hope, that I could do it if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my introduction into Alcoholics Anonymous.
And so, are you completely sober? You don't touch the stuff at all?
Don't touch stuff at all. 30 years continuous. 30 years continuous sobriety. See that? Anybody could get 30 years.
30 years. People can't do a month.
I
People
know.
can't do a weekend.
Like, I was just on a course at the police college.
Wow.
And we were staying at a hotel in London. And we went, the one night we went to a place. It was just this roadhouse bar kind of thing. And they were all drinking. And I never said, oh, I'm beyond that. I don't drink. I didn't do any of that. I had my glass of water with lemon and a coffee and a big vat of chicken wings. And I just joked and laughed and had a good time like everybody else. A lot of them didn't even notice it. There was one that did notice it. And they ended up buying my supper for me. They said, well, we all put in $20, and I put in the $20 as well, because I think there was 40 of us. So I threw my $20 into the pot because they were having this big brouhaha when we were done our course. But they said, no, you're not drinking. It's only fair that we pay for your meal. So they bought my chicken wings and my salad and my dessert. I did cheat a little bit. I had a dessert last night, Erwin.
I too would rather take my calories as food than through drink.
Yeah.
Right. Just as a generality, like I enjoy eating food over drink.
Yeah.
So that's.
But I don't even like I've been sober longer alive now that I don't even remember what the compulsion was like to want to drink. I don't even remember what that was like now.
So in the past episode, you said something that was really powerful for me.
What would that be, Aaron?
You don't remember?
No, I'm sorry, and please don't take this the wrong way.
It's okay.
Like, because I seem to have this happen to me a few times. So my friends, as you have a conversation with me after subsequent significant events and success in their lives. And they say, Jules, thanks a lot. You remember that thing you told me? I did exactly that, and it worked out really well. So after that conversation, I'm kind of sitting around saying, wow, what the heck did I say to them? Yeah. What did I say to them that, helped them step over that hurdle or break through that brick wall, whatever that was?
It was one of your conversations with, maybe it was your AA partner or something like that, along those lines, someone who is coaching, mentoring you. You were telling them like what your life was like, all your problems. And I think they said to you something like, wow, you sound like a victim.
Yes, that's it. That was it. So the guy that I'm working with now, and he's a, for lack of a better term, he's a giant in personal finance and wealth planning with one of the big banks. You'd recognize his name immediately if I shared that, but we both have an agreement that, our sobriety and our personal anonymity go hand in hand.
Sure. I'd like to meet them.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
Yeah.
So this is who I've been working with since, and he was part of a small group in the mid-90s that went to Lamana Oaks, a suburb of Chicago, Illinois, and brought back a series of the 12 steps from the founding fathers of Alcoholics Anonymous. So we've been doing the 12 steps as they were originally intended to be done, which is a very deep, searching, and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. So when he said you need to stop acting like a victim or stop portraying yourself like a victim, he knew what he was talking about. And, I had to inventory a lot of things and deal with them and get rid of them.
How do you do that?
Well, first you got to admit that there's a problem, and you got to admit defeat. And then you got to be willing to change and admit that there might be a power out there greater than yourself that could restore you to sanity because of the insanity of whatever this thing is that is defeating you. And once you got that done, then you make a decision to turn your will and your life over to the care of that power, be it God or a power greater than yourself, as you understand them. Not as the Roman Catholic Church understands them, not as a spiritual indigenous medicine man understands him or her, but as you understand this power greater than yourself. You turn your will and your life over to it, then you get to work. In step 4 and 5, you're doing a searching and moral inventory of yourself. You're learning certain facts about yourself. You're learning that there's certain defects that these resentments have activated. And then you learn what part you played in that. So in some cases, it was easy for me to say, well, they don't like me because I'm an indigenous person, and that's why I didn't get the promotion. They didn't like me because I'm a police officer, so that's why I didn't get that real estate deal. Stop that friggin' blaming. It's not serving you well. You need to overcome that. You need to find out what it is in yourself that's holding you back and overcome it and inventory it and deal with it. And then in the subsequent steps, we learn, what our defects of character are. And then we make a promise to the God of our understanding that, we'll endeavor to do the opposite of them. Mm-hmm. And carry on, during the day. I will do a quick step 1 to 9 if something comes up. And what I mean by that is, you get the phone call or somebody does something or something happens to you that activates those. It's the feelings that get activated. And when the feelings get activated, certain defects get activated. And that's when you have to watch yourself, because that's, at least for me, that's when times I'll say something that's awkward or aggressive, and I got to go back and apologize later. So instead, in steps 9 and 10, I will pause and I'll ask what? I'll refer back to that power greater than myself that restored me to sanity. And then I'll just listen for the answer. And if I calm myself enough, the answers will come. And I'll do the right thing. As opposed to blaming and being pissed off and jaded and all the rest of that kind of thing. It's an awesome lifestyle. And then in subsequent steps, I continue to meditate and pray and grow and develop and take all those things that I learn in step 12 and, share it when I can. Maybe one of your listeners is feeling hopeless and, down and jaded and pissed mm-hmm. off, if they think that, a lifestyle like mine can help them, I'm happy to steer them in the right direction. I mean, since the pandemic, we've been doing our step studies on Zoom, and, we've had people in our step studies right across the country. It's been tremendous.
As much as I'm tired of Zoom, it's kind of nice sometimes too.
It really is.
Yeah. We could have Zoomed if you wanted to, but
I prefer meeting you in person. I know we can Zoom. I know.
Speaking of, because you're a big guy.
Kind of big.
I can't imagine someone saying like, Jules, you sound like a victim, man. Where's my helmet?
Well, no, the guy that I'm mentoring right now, he's got a martial arts background, so and we've sparred. So man, I was all bruised up. I had the time of my life. It was fun, but he's a kind of a Tai Chi martial art type guy, very subtle. He moved in some high moving networks in training special forces type people.
Yeah.
So I've really had the benefit of some of that as well.
But still, someone called you out, man.
Oh, well, he was the right guy at the right time. I mean, the old saying
He's still
goes,
alive.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Right time. Yeah.
I'm still alive too.
Well, I mean, you didn't kill him.
No, I'm not sure that I would win that one. But the saying goes, like, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear.
That's crazy, man.
And when the student's ready, the teacher will appear.
Because I bring this up because so many people have suffered the last 2 years, and then you've suffered a lot.
Well, not in recent history.
Oh, come on. Who do you know so a lot of people have bad last 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm sure your good 2 years before you were 18 years old were probably worse than these last 2 years.
It was rough. Yeah, it was rough. No doubt about it. It was rough growing up.
Yeah. What would you say to those people?
I hope that things are better. I hope things that are peaceful. And I hope you're surrounded with those that you love and you're not harboring any resentment or discontentment in your life. Because I know what it's like for me to do that, and I don't wish that on anybody.
How often are you working on this?
We do studies in the fall, and then we do another one in the spring. Our spring one is going to start up near the end of April. So I facilitate the Zoom and the technical side of that, and my mentor, our sponsor, he does heads up the study.
Sorry, what does the sponsor mean in this context?
So in a context of for me, my guy more or less says that for him, in Alcoholics Anonymous, you have to get a sponsor. So this is somebody that you call on before you drink. That's the theory behind it.
Got it.
And
the opposite of your drinking buddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely the opposite. And there was some sort of a hierarchy approach to this. So your sponsor's up here and you're down there, and that's who you look up to. Well, he didn't want that. He said, that's not going to work for me. When I met this guy, and I actually met him through a contact that I had in Rain, he says, that doesn't work for me. He said, you and I can walk a distance together as long as you walk with me and we can immerse ourselves in doing step study work. So as soon as you stop doing step study work, this whole deal's done. We're done working together. So it wasn't a condition of working together, but as I continue to learn about myself and grow and personally develop doing the steps, more is revealed, Erwin. Like, more is revealed. More what? More of my past, things that need to be inventoried and dealt with. More talents and opportunities that I have to bring good into this world. Just more. More realization of how much I love my beautiful wife, and want to respect her and bring joy into her life, those kind of things.
So I've done some digging around my own past and then unpacking some things. So like one is like, I'm Chinese. I'm a child of tough
You're
Chinese.
Chinese?
Yeah. No, that's not the hard
Oh
part.
my gosh.
But I had tough Chinese parents.
There we go.
You bring home a 95, like, where's the 5, right? Type stuff.
Oh, that's tough stuff, man.
Yeah. And that's partly what drives me.
Yeah.
Because so I understand where that's from, right? So, but in your talking to people, do people understand where they come from? Like, have they unpacked their past? You know what I mean? Are they even looking in their past to determine like why they are the way they are?
Which people are you referring to?
Anyone, like these people that are part of these semi-annual events.
Study. Okay, so the people that get involved in a study, for example.
So, because where I'm going is, I don't know if enough people like actually look at themselves enough.
No, and I would venture to say that you're right, But
Because one of the biggest problems for people stopping them from being successful is their own self-doubts, right? So like go dig into what those self-doubts are. Where'd they come from?
I also think it's fear. Before there's a breakthrough, there has to be a breakdown. So essentially that's what we're doing when we're doing step study work.
Oh, it's painful, isn't it?
It's horrible.
Telling people you're being a victim.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That can be tough. And as I said, I learned that from who I'm working with. I said, I'm really having a hard time inventorying this stuff from my past. And he says, Jules, ultimately, there has to be a breakdown before there's a breakthrough. So that's, it can be unpleasant, but the rewards on the other side of that are tremendous. And, things like, selling properties that triple their value, things like getting promoted at work, your boss getting you a company car and an expense account and a credit card in your own corner office, those kind of things start happening as a result of inventorying and dealing with your shit, for a lack of a better term.
Right. And that's what I wanted to discuss on this show, because so many people,
they don't do it. Yeah.
So many people have failed to start.
Yeah.
Like I meet so many talented people all the time. They always say, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do what you do.
Yeah.
Like,
self-doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unnecessary self-doubt at that.
And I'd hazard to guess most of them didn't have as hard a time as you did.
Probably not. No.
Right? Like I've never had a gun pulled on me.
Yeah. And if you're content with a mediocre lifestyle, then good on you.
Yeah.
That's your choice.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But if you want what we have, then you have to be willing to put the work in and overcome certain challenges and obstacles, because everybody goes through them. Nobody is exempt. This was not handed to us. We had to work our tails off to get it.
Yeah, we say we, but you had to work harder.
Yeah.
I'm a son of a doctor, man.
Yeah, but he didn't buy you your investment properties. He didn't lease this or purchase this beautiful office space for you, or organize what you had to get organized in order to put this show on. You did all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were driven to do it.
It was so much easier, having my university education paid for example.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, as any good, astute parent should.
Oh, can you share what you did for your kids financially? Because they went to school and they went to buy homes.
They went to school. So I didn't push them. I didn't look for the 95% and ask them where the 5% was. I didn't push them that hard on academics. But what I did do is subject them to the audios that I was listening and read the books that I was reading. And we played that cash flow board game.
By Robert Kiyosaki, yeah.
Yeah.
Cash flow, yeah.
Yeah, cash flow. Not the kiddie version. I'm talking about the regular version. And even 202 we played.
Yeah.
When
did 202 come out?
202
I heard about it.
Yeah, 202 came out around 2001, 2002. Like it was
so
a while
plenty
ago.
old.
It was a while ago. But I didn't push them hard on academics, and I was conflicted about that. But as I see them starting to develop their own path, I realize now, if I would have pushed my son, for example, every cop wants their son to become a cop.
Really?
And carry on this legacy of being a law enforcement officer.
Tough gig, man.
Because we're a law enforcement family.
Yeah.
And I knew, from our training and my own personal growth and development journey, that's bullshit. My son is a beautiful man, beautiful, powerful man. Whoa. And he's going to contribute his gifts and his talents to the world and leave his own mark and make this a better place, just as we are. And I realized that it's not going to look exactly the way I did it. And it's certainly not going to include pushing a cruiser or wearing a uniform.
Sorry, you mentioned books and audios. Can you share what those are?
Man, I wouldn't know where to begin. Like, just look around in this office here. I mean, I've read a lot of these books, just as you have.
They're just decoration.
Yeah. The 10X, by the way, it's 10X listening to audio where Grant narrates it. It's really entertaining. I had such a good time listening to that. It was awesome.
He's a wonderful speaker.
Stephen Covey.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Of course, I didn't read. They never read the real estate cycle book. I don't know if they could digest that one, but they did real estate investing in Canada. My beautiful wife still hosts book club, so we do a book club, a book a month, with the kids. And now it's mostly her friends. So Angie has her friends come over once a month, and they're reading a book about something and discussing it. And so far it's evolved into women only, which is fine.
Any recent books you like?
I was just talking about this last night. I was at a dinner after our course, and the guys were asking me what I read. They were asking me, well, why are you so different? Why do you have this glow about you? And why are you still here working when you could have retired? And the truth is, I still really enjoy what I do. Like, it's a cool thing. Like, I liken it to my childhood and wondering how I could be my hero, Batman. So essentially I have the kind of Batman lifestyle. So, during the day, I'm this, for lack of a better term, this rich real estate investor in a family that has a legacy of real estate investing. And then at nighttime, I dress in my uniform and I'm suited up and I'm going out, catching criminals and, breaking down doors and seizing drugs and all that kind of stuff. There, I digress again. Oh yeah, right here. Rethinking Humanity is a book that I've read. I have to read it again because it's very detailed. But essentially, it's 5 foundational sector disruptions, the lifestyle of civilizations, and the coming age of freedom.
And the author?
Pardon me?
And the author?
It's James Arbib, A-R-B-I-B, and Tony Seba. And it was published in June 2020 during the pandemic. And it's their vision for what's coming. So things like autonomous vehicles.
Oh, cool.
This is...
Wasn't this guy on Rain recently?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I read the book. There is a lot of detail in it, so I have to read it again. It takes me a little longer to absorb, this information than the average. But once I get it, man, I got it.
Yeah. Cool. No, I started watching the interview, and my Tesla's coming in June.
Nice.
Can't wait to.
So I am allowed to buy a Tesla truck, Cybertruck, when they come out.
We don't know when it's going to come out.
We don't know when it's going to come out, but chances are sometime after June 30th, 2023, they will come out.
Maybe.
I hope so.
They're so busy making the other ones. And also the cost of materials has gone up so much.
Yeah.
So weren't they selling for like $40,000 US?
Yeah.
They can't make it for that.
I doubt very much that they will be.
Yeah. We'll see. So the reason I asked all these questions about you sound a lot like a victim, for example, is could you amass the wealth and success that you had?
Not blaming other people for my woes. No, there would be no way. Because you're constantly making excuses. Well, I can't do that, because people don't like me because I'm an indigenous person. Well,
I didn't even know.
That's not true. It's no view to have because we both know that's not true.
Oh, but even knowing you, I didn't know until years into knowing you.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just ignorant. I don't care. Right?
Yeah.
I was born here.
And that's the truth about it. Nobody cares. You're Chinese and nobody cares because really people come to you to get mentored as an expert in real estate investing and stock hacking.
We try.
Yeah. And you just happen to be Chinese.
Yeah.
Still don't care.
Yeah, don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you're a good person.
Yeah. As long as you're a good person, you're making a contribution, you're doing the best that you possibly can. That's all what people really care about.
Mm-hmm. So what's the future of your investing?
Whew.
We were talking a bit about that.
I know. I got
before we were recording.
So I did kind of take a step back. So I don't know if you remember the teachings of Dr. Paul Stoltz.
Oh, it's been a while since I heard that
I
name.
know, but it was impactful on me. So one of his teachings was about climbing and then camping and then climbing. Are you a climber or are you a camper? So Angie and I likened it to, we're going to camp for a little while. So my boss, I was taking a lot of time off to attend real estate events and do cool things and meet investors and hold events and all that kind of stuff. But my boss kind of says, well, I need to pull you back. You can't take all this time off. So I kind of went back and concentrated on the organization.
Just tell me you were looking for white collar crime.
And I could do that. I have an unusually high understanding of those matters. But anyhow, there we go again. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've got 16 months to go in policing.
That's it, eh?
That's it. I've lied to myself saying all these years, since I became into this realm of investing, I've been saying, oh, I have this great deal. It's positive cash flow. Oh, by the way, I'm a police officer as well. So you got that added security. But that job doesn't define who I am as a person. Well, that lie is just that. Like, yeah, I'd still do very much identify as myself as a police officer, sworn in to uphold the law, protect the public, be the best I possibly can be, mentor rookies coming after me, and just all around do my part to support the team that I work with. So not really sure. Well, I know that I can comfortably retire my badge and my gun and walk away from it. I know that financially that's not the issue at all. But there's a side of me that's going to have to reinvent myself. And I don't know, maybe it's doing what you do, owning a big real estate firm and employing lots of people and making multiple transactions and having a show and hosting courses and whatnot. Maybe it is, I don't know. Or maybe I take some of those CCIM courses and get my license and lease or sell commercial real estate because it's something I'm really interested in. I really like the idea of triple net lease. I know that there's not a whole lot of experts in the geographical area that I'm in Aurelia, that do that kind of thing. So maybe there's an aspect of that I can do. Or maybe I just continue to enhance my new skill that I learned from your organization in stock hacking,
It doesn't take that much time.
It did, no, and I'm starting to realize that. It was probably 5 minutes this morning, to place a trade that I did and execute it. I think it got executed. I didn't even look. It was before trading hours started, so I just did my thing. Did a little bit of research last night and executed my trade this morning and just left it. I may look at it on the weekend. I may not. I may look at it not till Monday.
Yeah, or 5 years from now.
Or 5 years from now.
When it turns into $1 million.
Yeah, so who knows? I know that the idea has been pitched to me several times about writing a book.
Oh, yeah.
Not really sure what that book would be about other than my personal experience and story.
You'd inspire a lot of people.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think it'd be a disservice to the world if you didn't.
Oh, there it is. You do what you do best, eh?
What's that?
You challenge people. You recognize the attributes that they have, and you challenge them to offer them to the world and be a better person.
Only if you're interested in the greater good.
When I am.
Yeah, you want to be Batman? He'd do it.
He would definitely do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
Let's
man.
put a date on it.
Oh, you want a date on that too?
2 years.
2 years. 2 years from now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's good. That's good timing.
March 11th, 2022. Is that the year we're in? 2 years.
So I gotta have it ready to go to the publishing in March 11th, 2024.
It's very reasonable for you to write a book in a year.
Yeah.
Right. You know, Jocko Willink, he says he writes an hour a day. Right. Especially if, for the importance of what it would mean to people. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some mind mapping and figure out what this would be about, what I would have to offer. And I wish I could remember some of the things I've told my peers over the years that they have to come back and tell me, oh, I've been so successful. And you remember that thing we talked about? I did that.
Yeah, we can have that chat another time. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, we didn't even talk about multi-level marketing today. All right.
No, we didn't. But I can honestly say that what multi-level marketing did for me was get me into the habit of reading nonfiction books, listening to audios. I mean, they were on cassette tape back in the day. And attending seminars full of like-minded people. That's what multi-level marketing did for me. So, you know, I didn't make a lot of money I didn't make any money in multi-level marketing. What it did was create those attributes that you need. You need to learn, you need to study, you need to open to change, and you need to be a leader in those things in order to, you know, money first appears as an idea in your brain. In order to manifest that, it's gonna take a lot of education.
And to get out of your comfort zone.
And get out of your comfort zone, absolutely. I was naturally an introvert being a police officer.
And you get to ask for sales.
Yeah, you got to do the ask.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, listeners. It really comes down to it. You're gonna have to do the ask. You're gonna have to ask that person to be your co-venture partner. You're gonna have to ask that seller to take your ridiculous offer. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to do those things.
You have to ask yourself what are you willing to do to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, morally and ethically.
Oh yeah, obviously. They wouldn't be listening to this show otherwise.
Yeah.
Jules, thanks so much.
Hey, Erwin. It's always a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening. If you want to learn how to invest in real estate from scratch, my team teaches beginners how to use the #1 investment strategy in a virtual free training class every month. Go to investortraining.ca/podcast to register for our next class. I publish an episode here every week, so subscribe if you want to keep learning from seasoned investors like myself and my guests. Again, if you're ready to learn the nitty-gritty about real estate investing, register for our next free virtual training class at investortraining.ca/podcast. Again, thanks for listening to the show. Talk to you next week.